After returning from the hospital, Tia immediately contacted X and then X's uncle. He explained in detail everything he had heard. The uncle said it wasn't a problem and that he could go and take a look the next day, if the parties involved agreed. Tia was very happy and quickly relayed the news to Dong. The next day, Tia brought X's uncle to the hospital. When they entered Nine's ward, they saw Nine's aunt was also there. After a brief introduction, Dong, who was very anxious, got straight to the point and asked Uncle, "Do you think there's something wrong with Nine?" The uncle replied, "I've been observing her since I came in. There's nothing wrong with either of you. You can relax." The aunt asked, "So what do you think is going on with all these strange occurrences?" The uncle thought for a moment and said, "It's hard to say for sure, but from what I've seen so far, there's nothing wrong. Tia told me about it before, but I really can't see anything amiss. The girl looks fine except that she's physically weak. There are no other issues." Then the uncle asked, "Does the girl run a dessert shop? If it's not too much trouble, could I take a look at it?" Nine said, "Sure, now that you mention it. Both times I had issues were when I was either leaving the shop or heading to it by taxi." The uncle said, "All right, let's go take a look first." Dong said to the aunt, "Give me the keys, I'll take the uncle there." The aunt agreed and handed the keys to Dong, saying, "All right, I'm driving today, and there are only 2 seats. Tia, you don't have to come. It's not far. You can wait here." The uncle said, "Okay, I'll go take a look. It won't take long." And with that, the 2 of them left, leaving Tia alone in the ward. At that moment, Tia felt quite awkward. The ward contained Nine and her aunt, and he wasn't very familiar with either of them. He could only make small talk with them. After asking a few questions about X's uncle, Tia didn't elaborate much. Eventually, the conversation mainly revolved around the aunt and Nine. Tia listened and he could tell that the aunt truly cared for Nine. She had come today to bring her some freshly washed and ironed clothes. After chatting for a while, the aunt asked Nine, "Have you been having any nightmares lately?" Nine replied, "I still have them occasionally, but with Dong around, I'm not as scared." At that moment, the aunt took out a small wooden box from her bag, took something out of it, and handed it to Nine, saying, "When you were unconscious after the incident, I changed you into some old clothes and took the others back home. I threw those clothes away. We won't wear them anymore. As for this amulet, I took it back and forgot to return it to you. Here, take it. It will help you stop having nightmares." Nine accepted it without much thought. Tia didn't get a clear look at what the amulet was. After a while, Dong and the uncle came back. Dong entered first and looked a bit disappointed. As they were talking, the uncle pushed the door open and walked in. However, upon entering, the uncle didn't immediately come inside. He stood at the door, furrowing his brows and scrutinizing Nine very seriously. He said, "While we were gone, someone else has been in this room." Uncle X's question left the 3 of them a bit bewildered. Dong asked, "Uncle, is something wrong?" The aunt replied, "No one else has been here. We were just chatting." At that moment, Tia suddenly blurted out, "The amulet you brought in the amulet." Nine felt a bit scared and quickly took off the amulet from her neck and handed it over. Uncle X took it and examined it closely, his frown deepening as he looked. He asked Nine, "Where did you get this amulet?" The aunt answered, "A friend of mine had it specially requested from Thailand. It's supposed to be very effective." Uncle X said, "You mentioned that wearing this amulet stopped your nightmares." Nine nodded. "Yes, ever since I started wearing it, I haven't had any nightmares. I believe it protected me during those 2 close calls." The uncle shook his head. "No, that's not right. When I came to see you this morning, your aura was very positive, but when I came back, it felt very dark and depressive. Now it's clear that the problem lies with this amulet. It's very off. I believe these two incidents you encountered were caused by wearing this. I must take it back and deal with it properly. 9 was puzzled. Really? But people at both accidents seemed sulling. Wasn't it Ling trying to harm me? As soon as she said this, the uncle didn't respond but stared at 9, shaking his head. After a while, Tia could sense that the uncle seemed displeased. The uncle asked 9, "How was your relationship with Ling when she was alive?" 9 burst into tears saying, "She was incredibly kind to me. It's because of me that she died. She must hate me. She must be very angry with me. And she keeps haunting me in my dreams." Before she could finish, the uncle sternly interrupted her. "Enough. Stop right there. Think about it. If someone was so kind to you while they were alive, why would you think they would turn around and harm you after death? Think about it. Would someone who was so good to you in life just turn around and try to harm you, even to the point of wanting you to die in a car crash?" Uncle X's tone was quite harsh, and 9 felt wronged, sad and scared. But she was supposed to die that day. 9 cried. Uncle X, realizing that his words might have been too harsh, shook his head and said, "So you think because she died in your place, she would hate you and try to take you with her? Have you ever considered that she might be heartbroken instead? Have you ever thought that just because she's dead, she would carry around this unrelenting hatred? You're overthinking. It's your own guilt that's causing these nightmares. It's a psychological issue that you can't seem to let go of. But by blaming everything on your deceased friend, do you think that's fair?" After speaking, the uncle turned to 9 and said, "I have to say something to you. Blind faith is worse than no faith at all. You don't even understand the basics, sir. And yet you bring in these so-called miraculous items without knowing what they are. You're not only being irresponsible towards yourself, but you've also harmed the child." At that moment, Tia chimed in from the side saying, Yeah, these Thai Buddha amulets are really eerie." He intended to agree with Uncle X, but after hearing this, Uncle X turned to him and asked, "Tia, how did you come to that conclusion?" Tia was a bit bewildered and said, "I was just trying to go along with the conversation, right? If there's something wrong with this amulet, why are you directing it at me?" Uncle X shook his head and said, "You're just repeating what others say. Take a good look at this thing. Is it really a Buddha amulet?" He held the amulet towards Tia, who looked at it and said, "Is this not a Buddha amulet? There's a Buddha on it and the Buddha is covering its face with its hand. Isn't this a covered face Buddha? I remember there's such an amulet." Uncle X said, "Look more closely." Tia examined it carefully for a while, but still couldn't see anything amiss, and said, "What is it? This isn't the covered face Buddha you mentioned, also known as patting arm strike, is it? This is definitely not it. It just looks similar in shape. Look closely at the back of the hand covering the face," Uncle X said. Tia took a closer look and immediately noticed something odd. The backs of the hands covering the Buddha's face had two narrow eyes, and it seemed that there were faintly visible red pupils. If you didn't look closely, you wouldn't notice them, but once you did, the more you looked, the more unsettling it became. Uncle X held up the amulet and said, "You must never touch this thing again. Patting arm strike would never be carved like this. I told you this thing is very sinister, but it's not a Buddha amulet and has nothing to do with Thai Buddhism. Such a malevolent object must have come from some unsavory source. Turning to Nine's Aunt, Uncle X said, I don't know what your friend's intention was in giving you this thing, and I won't speculate, but I'll give you a piece of advice. Be very cautious. The aunt was left speechless and stunned. At that moment, Uncle X looked at Nine, who was still crying, and softened his tone to comfort her, saying, I haven't seen this girl you mentioned, and I don't know if the people who claimed to have seen her really did. But think about it. You've been carrying such a dangerous object, and have survived to such dangerous car accidents unscathed. If she really did appear, don't you think she might have been trying to save you? As soon as he said this, Nine cried even harder, but her tears were no longer out of fear. After explaining everything, Uncle X said to Tia, All right, we've handled everything here. I need to take this thing away and deal with it properly. There won't be any more problems here. Let's go. Dong saw the two of them out and expressed his deep gratitude to Uncle X. At the hospital entrance, Uncle X said, All right, you go back. Take good care of this young lady. On the way back, Tia was very curious and asked Uncle X, Uncle, what is this thing? How do you plan to handle it? Uncle X looked at him and simply said, You don't need to ask about that.